Yeah, there's people behind as well.
There's always people behind in the newsroom. They're stuck in the front.
It's coming up to the hour. Here are the headlines. The Queen has called on Pippa Middleton to sort out the royal wardrobe. In a statement, Miss Middleton says, "This is a great honour and I intend to make sure the Queen has her clothes on clothes hangers and shoes in pairs. This is quite a challenge, but I'm sure grouping shoes by colour, make, size and design will help with that." Alistair Darling has said that in the event of a yes vote in next year's referendum, Scotland may have to reinvent gravity, as it was originally an English invention. In today's Scottish Parliament debate, Ruth Davison has said that replacing nuclear power with renewable energy leaves Scotland in a very precarious situation. She asked Alex Salmond, "What happens when the waves run out?" Alistair Darling has said that Trident nuclear weapons are safer in the Union. In a statement, Mr Darling said that in the event of a yes vote in 2014, the weapons, perhaps no longer held together by good old British metal, will become unstable and explode, just as sour-faced Salmond takes the throne as Emperor of all he sees. And in sports news, Alistair Darling has said that in the event of a yes vote in the referendum next year, Scotland will have to reapply to FIFA in order to get the ball back because it's ours. Finance and the economy is showing green shoots according to Alistair Darling. But in the event of a yes vote in 2014, these shoots will be shrivelled and burned by the weed killer of the SNP, the SSP and the Greens. He went on to ask, will all of our favourite products and producers have to suffer in the event of a yes vote? Will English mustard really have to be renamed Yellow Treachery? Scotch eggs, Freedom Balls? And can I still walk 500 miles and 500 more just to be the unionist to fall down at your door? I think not. Ashley.
Thanks, Neil. Reports are coming in of separatists really walking the streets of Scotland, spreading their messages of hate. Alistair Darling has in a recent statement said, "In independent Scotland, grannies may well be shoved off buses, and will we have chips? The Scottish Government needs to provide answers." There has been no statement from the separatists who, according to the No campaign, are planning to set a real moose loose about everyone's house come 2014. In international news, Johan Lamont has said that Scotland will immediately be annexed by North Korea as soon as Faslane nuclear submarine base has been banished from the shores of Gairloch or perhaps annihilated by Al-Qaeda. One of the two, she is sure. Oh wait, we have breaking news. We go over to Rick Knobinson on the Scottish border. Rick, have you found something shocking?
Yes, Ashley. I want to show you something. On this side of the Scottish border, the English call it the Scottish border. On this side of the Scottish border, Scottish people call it the Scottish border. In an extraordinary chain of events this morning, the number 79 bus from Annan to Carlisle crossed this border with me on board. And not one Scottish person shed a tear with the thought that this border may change its name next year to the English-Scottish border or the Scottish-English border. Most people on the bus this morning leaving Annan were native Scots. Not one of them gave not one of them cared when asked the question, will you regret the name change of this border in the event of a yes vote in 2014? Not one. In a statement from Downing Street, David Cameron has blamed this on BBC lefty bias. Back to the studio.
Extraordinary events in the Scottish border. Neil?
Thanks, Ashley. Complaints have been brushed off by the BBC by separatists who have claimed that a recent BBC Question Time from Glasgow's Easter House had an unbalanced panel. David Dimbleby has denied that the panel that included Melanie Phillips, Kelvin Mackenzie, David Starkey, Nigel Farage, Margaret Thatcher's rotting corpse and comedian Jim Davison was in any way anti-Scot. He went on to say that all of the panellists had connections to the area in Glasgow by way of being British as far as he was aware. Easter House was still British and will remain so if he has anything to do with it. Now the weather. Pauline, I do hope that you have the best of British in store for us.
I do, thank you, Neil, yes. The best British weather in the world, and my family will be enjoying it all day. We've all been wearing our Team GB Union Jack t-shirts all morning and lapping up the British sun.
Just how more British can it be? Here on the British Broadcasting Corporation in the Scottish province, the weather that supports our boys, eh?
Ah, yes. And yes is a bad word in our house. But of course I'm not being biased.
Very witty, Pauline. Nice one.
Thank you, Neil. What a wonderful day we have here in British Glasgow. Now, the British weather is always better together. And we have it all together all in one day. Good old British sunshine that was sent up from London supporting our boys. And that's what our tax money's here for. All the goodness of the northerly wind that causes the bees and the pollen from the south of the border, and without which, of course, we would have none of our oats and barley, which, of course, are needed for food and drink for our boys. Now, moving on to this afternoon, the British sunshine will make way for thundery showers that are going to engulf us from Holyrood. The dour Scots weather definitely needs some balance. And the light breeze and sunshine and the sun of cuddly Boris and the London and the squeezable David and Nick and of course let's not forget the wonderfully fluffy Theresa May. Through the British air, it will move across Scotland, clearing the nationalism and the want for a fairer, cleaner nuclear Scotland, anti-nuclear Scotland. But these eyes will disappear in a puff of high pressure from across the Atlantic. Now, we can blame the remnants of Hurricane Barak for some of that, though after we can blame the remnants of Hurricane Barak for that, though after a hurricane of hope, it's petered out the damp drizzle of disappointment and the murderous drone hail from the skies, falling on families and innocents abroad. So anyway, so there you have it, the hegemonic weather abroad and ahead, bolstered by the British breeze and the demonic North Atlantic Treaty.
Thank you, Polly. Extraordinary British weather. Scottish unemployment has continued to fall, outpowering the rest of the UK. Mark Hogan, the UK Minister for Employment, has said that this is because of the generosity of the south and east of England, our boys, and they're not being bothered. The Minister said today, bothered, am I bothered? Face, bothered. Over to you, Knobinson, on the Scottish border.
Oh, the water the Nats kingdom come for as much as I care. I was sent here. I visited many a war zone and covered many the legs. Why send me? Not one Union Jack and a cold beer. You see left guys. What Nats everywhere.
Why?
What? Oh! In an extraordinary turn of events and through my inquiries here in the Scottish borders, I have found out that nature will have no say in the referendum next year. In the event of a yes vote, these extraordinary trees, yes, these trees over there, by the road, will have their roots both in England and in the new foreign country of Scotland. Who will own them? This is the question. Who will prune these trees? If left to a separatist government, will they be allowed to grow wild and unkept, awaiting disaster? Remember, cars hitting at speed, overgrown trees at the side of a road can at worst hurt or kill their British occupants. And as for the problem of tumbling waves, will these unkempt waves damage English railways? Alex Salmond was unavailable for comment. Back to the studio.
Poor people across the UK have been plunged into further poverty by a tax on their bedrooms. According to left-wing lefties, who according to the Scottish Tory MP David Mundell are at it, this so-called tax has plunged people into debt into the hands of loan sharks. Ian Duncan Smith, the Minister for Kindness, who has visited a poor housing scheme once and who lives on £57 a week on his country estate, has said the solution is clear. A young, healthy, poor child well nursed is, at a year old, a most delicious, nourishing and wholesome food, whether stewed, roasted, baked or boiled. And I make no doubt that it will equally serve in a fricassee or a ragout. Ashley.
And finally, a fluffy bunny dressed in a Union flag t-shirt has been surprising residents over a border town of Brecna. Oh, how everyone laughed and said, oh. A local man said, that's really lovely. It makes you proud to be British and it's good to see bunnies supporting our boys. Local Tory MP David Mundell has said that in the event of a yes vote in 2014, such cute fluffy bunnies wearing Union flag t-shirts will never again grace the final section in a BBC Scotland news programme, as the cooperation is smashed to pieces and bunnies are banned by Alexander.
Thank you, Ashley. To sum up, British, UK OK, better together, we love our Queen. Royal babies, royal operations, lovely Maggie tea, yes to nukes, yes to bedroom tax, no to prosperity, no to the NHS and free education. Bleh to freedom of choice and social democracy. Our boys, good night.
Hey!